And this, again, this is like one-up strategies business schools don't teach. This was one-up strategies corporations don't teach until I walked in. And I really shook up a lot of the feathers, and a lot of the administrators who were managers at the time were saying, what? Because I had some of their underlings assertively say to one assertively said to her manager, who was looking at the computer and typing stuff, when the other woman came in and told her about an issue that they were having. And the student who I had trained, I say student, the employee that I had trained said to her, I wonder if you would be kind enough to look at me when I talk to you, because I have to know that this is going to be acted on. Well, the manager went, oh, what? And what that did was it gave this customer service, who was pretty low down, customer service person, an opportunity to feel assertive and to feel empowered. And she went back to college. She was not a college graduate. She went back to college as a result of that. The manager said, wow, Dr. Gilda, what have you been training them to do? Are you going to create an insurrection here?
Yes, and that's what some leaders are worried about, right?
That's exactly right. So I had to deal with the management on another plane. I mean, you can't go in and say, I'm going to start shaking up the coconut tree. And of course, I'm hoping that the coconuts will fall on your head and then you'll have an epiphany. Oh, wow, I know what I'm doing. That can't happen.
That happens a lot with the curiosity talks too. They're going to, are they going to keep asking us questions to the point we can't get anything done? Or, you get the aspects from the leadership's point of view. Because some of them, especially when I saw it a lot in project management, they want to stay on time. They don't want things to put them off track. But, there's opportunity cost involved in not doing things. And I think that when you talk about these communications, questioning things, presenting yourself things, all these things help the bottom line. And because I guess you just have to kind of draw that picture sometimes for people, because a lot of people think short term, maybe this will slow us down for a second. You know what I mean? But it's like when we first got computers in pharmaceutical sales, we used to write everything in notebooks, and everybody freaked out when we had to put them on a computer, a handheld, right? Because it took so much time. Well, it did take a little more time at the beginning, but then, of course, if we were still using notebooks, think about ridiculous, right? You watch old X-Files and you watch them pulling those file cabinets open, and you're thinking,
right.
how does the FBI even function? You know what I mean? If they had everything in little files. So we have to move forward. Sometimes you got to step back a little bit and go, yeah, that kind of hurt a little bit to grow to the next thing,
But keep in mind that the status quo is so comfy. Even though it's not working for the bottom line, it's so comfortable. Why would I want to change? Change is so threatening to so many people. I went into one group and they were all sitting around. This was a group, as it turned out, a group of men sitting at a conference table. And I was talking about communication, good communication. And these were all these executives, and I was out from Mars as far as they were concerned. I mean, who is this woman coming in? And they started complaining to no end about the boss who would not give them raises, the boss who would not give them promotions. And this was playing into my hand beautifully. So instead of my presentation going right into the presentation that I had planned, I used the first half hour right at the conference table for them to deliver their grievances. It was like a therapy session. And I just let them spill. And then when they themselves discussed their needs and their wants and their upsets, then I was able to move in gently and say, how do you think we can improve this? And it was brilliant the way it had happened. And it wasn't how I had prepared it. I expected them to be nice little soldiers coming in, sitting at the conference table, listening to all the things that I was prepared to deliver. But you see, I learned that from TV. On TV, we had on all the talk shows, I was given pre-interviews, and I had all my wonderful sound bites. I thought they were so terrific, and I was going to use them. And then all of a sudden, somebody breaks down on stage, and I'm going, uh-oh. And boy, think on your seat was the MO that I learned. And it was tremendous training for me to deal later with CEOs.
You always have to have a certain amount planned, assuming your notes fly
Oh,
away. Or, or
why
my
did you
notes
tell them, why did you tell them about what happened to you?
Yeah, I was ready to do my teleprompter because I hadn't had a chance to prepare for this one thing. And I looked up at my document on the screen and it just went blank. There was nothing on it, which, I wasn't going to read it or anything, but it would have been nice to have had it to, just keep place. It's kind of like having a PowerPoint for some people. You know which picture means what story you're on or whatever. But when these things happen, you can't just be totally reliant on what you had planned. Because if you're not prepared, you're just dead in the water at that point. I mean, I was at a conference here in town where a billionaire was being interviewed by one of the local celebrity people here, and the billionaire took the guy's iPad and threw it across the room right when he was about to ask him questions from it. And the guy is totally a cool guy, so he had no problem with that. He's like, I don't need that. But some people would have just, So you have to be prepared for the billionaire ripping your iPad out of your hand, or the whatever thing comes next, or your notes disappearing from the screen.
I was teaching an MBA graduate, of course, in the business school in New York that I was at. And I had all the students assess all the other students as each one came up and delivered an elevator pitch. So it was quick, 1, 2, 3, 4. And afterwards, I looked at the cards and everybody said, oh, great job. Oh, this is terrific. This is wonderful. And I looked at these things and I said, oh, really? I took the cards and I ripped them up. One of the guys said after the fact, he said, I was on stress tabs throughout your entire class. Your class was so scary. But I said, stop it with all these niceties, because people out there who are watching you are not going to deliver niceties as you hope and pray. People will speak their minds more so now than ever before. And I want you to be prepared for this. And then we broke through all that sweet talk and we were able to start getting the job done.
Well, how do you deal with, though, the students in a class like that who have to get that negative feedback when they're terrified of the class to begin with and thinking it's hard, and then they have to listen to maybe you could ask them to sandwich it between niceties, I guess. But
I was just going to say there's a 3 + 1 + 1 formula that I use. 3 positives sandwiched in between the deliverable of a negative and ending up with a positive. So it's a 3 + 1 + 1 formula that I have used and taught people throughout my career. And it works very, very effectively. But if you start off with you language, you did this and you did this and what is the point of that? Where is the motivation going? They're going to be slaughtered. They're going to figure, I don't want to ever do this again.
I just had to do a 360 on somebody who I used to work for, who thought that probably I had found things that he had done not great while I was working for him. So he came to me knowing I'm probably going to be the most critical. And I really appreciated that. He did. He got over, he didn't have to. I didn't still work in the company. I was long gone. He could have gone to people who would give him nice sweet responses. And I actually did get very nice responses, but with one sandwiched in there that I thought really was his most needed thing. But I wrote it in a very respectful way. I think we can give people negative feedback in the right way.